Most people forget Italy flew an entire arsenal of World War II planes, from deadly torpedo bombers to sleek fighters that challenged the Allies. Here's every Italian aircraft in the war. Biplane fighters, Fiat CR-32. It was extremely nimble and a favourite of many pilots. But by 1940, it was thoroughly outclassed by modern monoplanes. Yet Italian pilots flew it bravely in North Africa and Greece. Fiat CR-42 Falco, known as the Falcon. This was perhaps the finest combat biplane ever built. It excelled in dogfights below 13,000 feet. The Royal Air Force recognised its amazing turn radius, but its top speed was simply too low for success in later theatres. IMAM RO 44, a very rare type. This single-seat floatplane fighter was derived from the RO-43 reconnaissance craft. It had limited production, used primarily for defending major naval bases and coastal patrol duties. Next on the list is monoplane fighters, Fiat G50 Freccia. The Arrow was Italy's first low-wing, all-metal monoplane fighter. It suffered initially from a lack of decent armament and an open cockpit. It was reliable, but quickly overshadowed by newer designs. Now this is the Machi C200 Saetta. This fighter, named Lightning, was a very sturdy and trustworthy design. Pilots praised its excellent maneuverability and structural strength. However, the relatively low-powered engine prevented it from competing with Allied machines at higher altitudes. Reggiane Re 2000 Falco 1. This design was highly advanced for its time. It featured stressed skin construction and strong performance. Italian authorities declined mass production due to concerns over the self-sealing fuel tanks. Many were exported, ironically, to Hungary and Sweden. Reggiane Re 2001 Falco 2. This was a significant improvement over its predecessor. It adopted the superior German Daimler-Benz DB 601 engine. This transformation made it one of Italy's best early war fighters. It served effectively as a fighter bomber as well. Reggiane Re 2002 Ariete, named RAM. This machine was developed when supplies of the German DB 601 engine became scarce. It reverted to a powerful radial motor. It excelled in the ground attack role, especially during the Allied landings in Sicily in 1943. Next on the list is Series 5 fighters, late war. Machi C202 Folgore, the true star of the early Regia Aeronautica. The Thunderbolt successfully mated the superb Machi airframe with the powerful German DB601 engine. It finally allowed Italian pilots to meet Allied Spitfires on equal terms. Machi C205 Veltro. This fighter, the Greyhound, was the ultimate evolution of the Machi 200 line. Utilizing the larger, more powerful German DB605 engine, it was truly competitive. Many pilots considered it Italy's finest fighter aircraft of the entire war. Fiat G55 Centauro. The Centaur was another exceptional high-altitude fighter. It also used the German DB605 engine, considered by many experts, including the Germans, to be technically superior even to the Messerschmitt Bf 109. Its production came tragically late. Reggiane Re 2005. Sagittario the Archer was the final and most aesthetically pleasing of the Italian Serie 5 fighters. It boasted superb handling and blistering speed. Although only a handful were built, it represented the absolute pinnacle of Italian piston engine fighter design. Next on the list is heavy fighters and night fighters. IMAM RO 57. This was an ambitious twin-engine heavy fighter. It was intended for high-speed interception. Unfortunately, technical difficulties and the demand for single-engine fighters severely limited its deployment, and it saw minimal combat action. The next one, Fiat CR25, a fairly rare twin-engine design that primarily served in the reconnaissance and escort roles. It proved quite reliable, specializing in photographing enemy fleet movements over the Mediterranean. Caproni Vizsla F5. This highly maneuverable monoplane was designed specifically to be lightweight and fast. Though it showed promise in testing, only a few were produced, serving mostly as advanced fighter trainers throughout the conflict. Continuing with medium and torpedo bombers, Savoia Marchetti SM-79 Sparviero. the legendary 3-engine Sparrowhawk, easily the most recognizable and successful Italian bomber of the war. It was famously rugged and effective as a torpedo bomber, earning the respect of the Royal Navy across the Mediterranean. Savoia Marchetti SM-81 Pipistrello, known as the Bat. This tri-motor was the predecessor to the SM-79. It was already obsolete when the war began. It spent the conflict primarily flying night missions or carrying essential troop and cargo transport. Savoia Marchetti SM-84, designed to modernize the successful SM-79 line. This 3-engine craft featured better armament. However, pilots found it less stable and harder to handle than the old Sparrowhawk, limiting its overall effectiveness. Fiat BR-20 Cicogna, the Stork, was an early Italian bomber that participated briefly in the Battle of Britain in 1940. It was rugged but slow. It was quickly relegated to secondary roles, primarily serving in the Far East with the Japanese Air Force. Up next, Kant Z-1007 Alcyon, Kingfisher, was a very robust 3-engine medium bomber. It was known for its wooden airframe construction, which allowed it to absorb significant damage. It was widely used for reconnaissance and bombing over the Balkans and North Africa. Kant Z-1018, Lione named Lion. This was Italy's most advanced twin-engine bomber project. It featured an all-metal stressed skin design. Although significantly better than earlier types, production delays meant it missed the main fighting phases of the war. Moving on to heavy bombers, Piaggio P108. This was the only 4-engine heavy bomber employed by the Regia Aeronautica. It saw limited operational use. It was mainly used for long-range maritime patrols and night bombing, showing potential that was never fully realized. Now let's look at dive bombers and ground attack. Breda Bar 65, a single-seat, low-wing monoplane used extensively for ground attack and dive bombing in the Spanish Civil War. By 1940, it suffered heavy losses due to its slow speed and weak defensive armor. Breda Bar 88 Lynx. The Lynx is perhaps Italy's most famous wartime flop. It was designed to be a high-speed reconnaissance aircraft. Once fully loaded with equipment, it became critically slow and unstable. Most were quickly grounded and abandoned. Savoia Marchetti SM-85, an unfortunate attempt to create a twin-engine dive bomber. It proved incredibly unreliable and mechanically fragile in operation. It was withdrawn from first-line service after barely a year of disappointing performance. Caproni Kea 314, a versatile twin-engine transport, light bomber, and reconnaissance machine. It was a further development in the Caproni 300 series, served diligently in the logistical support role across the Mediterranean theatre, continuing with seaplanes and flying boats. Kant Z501 Gabbiano, known as the Seagull. This was a widely used and recognizable long-range reconnaissance flying boat. It was slow and vulnerable, but its reliability made it essential for search and rescue and anti-submarine patrols. The next one, Kant Z506 Airone, the 3-engine Heron, was one of the finest hydroplane aircraft of the era. It was fast and remarkably sturdy, used primarily for search and rescue, long-range maritime patrol, and occasional bombing missions. Fiat RS-14, a dedicated twin-engine maritime reconnaissance and anti-submarine float plane. It was valued for its long range and solid endurance over open water, serving effectively until the armistice. Imam Row 43. This distinctive float plane was the standard reconnaissance aircraft for major Italian naval vessels. It was launched via catapult. It played a key role in spotting and reporting during naval engagements in the Mediterranean. Caproni Car 316, a lesser-known float plane version of the Caproni 300 series. It was primarily designed for coastal patrol duties and often employed for liaison and transport around harbours. Next on the list is land-based reconnaissance. Caproni Car 309 Ghibli, named after the hot desert wind. This twin-engine monoplane was a lightweight utility aircraft designed specifically for colonial police and reconnaissance duties in North Africa. Caproni Car 310 Libeccio, the Southwest Wind, was an early reconnaissance bomber that saw widespread service across various theatres. It It was sold internationally, but its performance was deemed insufficient for modern combat by 1940. Caproni Ca. 311, distinguished by its extensive use of glazing in the nose section, offering superb visibility for reconnaissance crews. It was used mainly for visual and photographic mapping missions. Caproni Ca. 313, one of the more successful multi-role light bombers and trainers in the Caproni series. It was widely exported, proving itself reliable and adaptable for reconnaissance and light attack roles. IMAM Row 37, a very sturdy biplane used extensively for army cooperation and reconnaissance, particularly in Ethiopia and the early campaigns in North Africa. It was reliable, but suffered heavily when encountering enemy fighters. Now let's look at transport and liaison. Savoia Marchetti SM-82 Kangaroo, the massive tri-motor Kangaroo, was a crucial strategic transport. It was famous for its immense range and payload capacity, enabling complex long-distance missions, including strategic supply drops over the Soviet Union. The next one, Savoia Marchetti SM-73, an early tri-motor passenger and cargo aircraft. It was already aging when the war started. It provided essential transport and logistical support throughout the conflict, often serving on dangerous supply routes. Savoia Marchetti SM-74, a large, unusual high-wing transport aircraft. It offered exceptional interior space for cargo or troops, used primarily by the military for moving priority supplies and specialized equipment. Savoia Marchetti SM-75, a very reliable tri-motor transport that served as the backbone of the Italian military's air supply chain. It was adaptable, often modified for long-range special missions and liaison duties. Savoia Marchetti SM-83, a luxurious and fast tri-motor airliner converted for high-priority transport roles, often used for moving top military commanders or critical documents quickly across the Mediterranean. Fiat G12, a highly successful modern three-engine transport that arrived later in the war. It was robust, spacious, and possessed excellent range, making it vital for supply operations after the fall of North Africa. Caproni Ca. 133, a successful tri-motor transport aircraft dating back to the mid-1930s. It was a true workhorse, essential for rapid troop deployment and freight operations, especially in Italian East Africa. Caproni Ca. 148. This was a modernized derivative of the successful CA-133 design. It featured better engines and structural improvements. It served primarily in training and secondary transport roles.